Welcome to Tab Briefs, a weekly look at headlines from the world of faith for April 24th, 2020. I'm Tab Media Content Editor Carrie McWhorter, and the top 3 headlines that grabbed our attention this week are these. First, the above-the-line charitable deduction authorized by the CARES Act. Second, the drop in church giving during the COVID-19 pandemic. And finally, a protest over prayer videos posted by U.S. military chaplains at Fort Drum. First up, you've probably heard about the Paycheck Protection Program, or the PPP. The program is part of the CARES Act passed by Congress in late March to help businesses keep employees on payroll amid coronavirus-related shutdowns. But a lesser-known provision of the CARES Act is a universal above-the-line. Nonprofits have asked for such a deduction since the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act went into effect in 2018. Prior to that law, taxpayers who itemized on their taxes were able to take deductions for charitable donations to churches and nonprofits. But the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act roughly doubled, resulting in some 90% of taxpayers taking the standard deduction instead. That led to a slight decline in charitable giving, according to Giving USA's 2018 report. But one of the provisions of the CARES Act is a universal deduction for charitable contributions given in 2020. Individual taxpayers who take the standard deduction may now deduct up to $300 per year in charitable contributions. The deduction for joint filers is up to $600. These deductions do have some restrictions, like individuals must give cash gifts, not food or clothing donations, and only gifts to qualified public charities qualify. Investment experts I read seem skeptical this new deduction will make a lot of difference in charitable giving, but most agree it's better than nothing, especially as churches, ministries, and faith-based nonprofits continue to evaluate the economic fallout from the COVID-19 crisis. The CARES Act also includes provisions for donors who continue to itemize after the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act went into effect. One change: those who still itemize may deduct 2020 contributions up to 100% of their adjusted gross income. Now let's be clear that none of this information is intended as tax advice. As with all tax-related law, the CARES Act is complex, so donors should consult with tax advisors about their personal financial situation. But for those who can give in this time, these incentives may be just the push they need. And for nonprofits and churches, those gifts would certainly be welcome. A new survey of mostly Protestant pastors in the U.S. shows a decline in giving since the pandemic forced congregations to stop meeting in person. The State of the Plate survey, released April 22nd by the National Association of Evangelicals, found that about a third of churches reported a 10 to 20% drop in giving. About 1/5 of churches said the decline was much steeper, between 30 and 50%. Though some churches reported even greater drops in offerings, about a third did report they had seen steady offerings, with some even reporting an increase during this time. Other surveys have found similar declines in giving. Barna surveyed pastors in late March and found that almost 8 in 10 reported financial giving had decreased. And a joint survey conducted by the Billy Graham Center, Exponential, and Leadership Network that was released Tuesday found that 60% of pastors have seen a decrease in giving. A bit of good news, however. That research also showed that a majority of church leaders are optimistic about their church's financial situation, despite those declines in giving. And finally, 4 videos by chaplains at Fort Drum, New York, were removed from the Brigade Command's official Facebook page after protests from an organization with a long history of challenging Christian expression in the military. The videos, which were recorded by chaplains Major Scott Ingram and Captain Amy Smith, were posted to the Brigade's official command Facebook page in March and April. In her videos, Smith encourages viewers to take advantage of 2 spiritual fitness tools located on the base: a spiritual fitness trail and a labyrinth. Both are useful for prayer and seeking God, Smith says in the videos. In one of his videos, Ingram introduces himself as a new chaplain at Fort Drum and talks about the ability of love to cast out fear using 1 John 4:18 and 19. In another, Smith cites Isaiah 41 and encourages viewers to place their trust in God. Mikey Weinstein, founder and president of the Military Religious Freedom Foundation, said his group sent a letter to the U.S. Army's 10th Mountain Division Sustainment Brigade demanding that the video messages be taken down. But even though the videos were removed from the base's official Facebook page, they are still available on the Base Chapel's Facebook page and on YouTube. Want to watch them? We created a playlist at our Tab Media YouTube channel with links to the 4 videos. Check them out now using the link in today's show notes. And those are your Tab briefs for April 24th, 2020. To read more about these and other stories from the world of faith-based news, go to tabonline.org. And while you're there, check out our podcasts, Tab Talks, Tab News, Tab Briefs, and coming soon, Tab Stories. Thanks for watching, and join us again next Friday.